Alright, so what I'm going to do now is, this is a 20 millimeter aviation plug, Canon plug, and this will mount in the top of the box. This will sit down on the top of my enclosure like so, and then this will go to the cable that's going out to the motor. So what I want to do now is just solder these connections to my cable that's going to connect to my VFD. So here are the pinouts for my motor. T1, terminal 1, or wire U is this black terminal, and it's just under the little indicator for the plug. So that'll be this one here, or this top one here. So just as before, I'm just going to solder up these connections. Okay, but hopefully you can see that. It's all soldered up, and that'll get connected to our panel. See if I can get some heat shrink around that. And then next I'm just going to tin the other end of this pigtail here. Okay, well I didn't have any heat shrink, so what I did was just put some electrical tape around here. And then I went ahead and tinned the ends of the wires on the other side. And so now I have my pigtail that's ready to go into the enclosure. Next, I took another piece of cable. This will go out to my motor. This is about 10 feet long, I guess. I can cut it to length when I hook it up to the motor, but for now it's fine. And then here is the other side of the aviation plug. And this goes together like this. And then the cable goes in like so. So I just took it apart, and I'm going to make these connections following the same layout as I did with the other side. Okay, like so. What I'm going to do is just wrap some tape around here. Just so I don't have any heat shrink big enough. Just to make sure that it doesn't come in contact with the case. Keep it nice, and that'll make it nice there. And then now it's just a matter of putting it back together. It's got a little indicator here, indicator there, goes in like that. Okay, so I have it connected, and I just want to take a meter and make sure that my wiring is straight through. Alright, so now that I've made these connections, this one needs to go to the motor, and this one needs to get wired into our enclosure. Okay, so now we need to wire up our motor. This is a Leeson IEC metric motor. It's a 192057-00. It's a 1 horsepower, 3425 RPM at 60 Hertz, and it's set up for 230 or 460 three-phase. This particular motor, I'm going to be using this flange mount here, so it didn't come. This one didn't come with feet, but if you do have the feet, you can take them off. They're made to be universally bolted on. On the back of the cover, you will see your wiring. We're going to be wiring low voltage. In a three-phase motor, there are 9 wires, and for 230 three-phase, we need to tie together T4, T5, and T6 on terminal U2. So let me get these disconnected here. Show you what we got. Sometimes the motor will come with these little plates that go from one to the other, and you can tie them together like that. This is just a ceramic block that's in here. These lugs don't actually go to anything. It's just so you can tie all these wires together. So I'm going to pull these off. And this right here is labeled U2. This terminal right here. And like I said, this is just a lug. So on U2, I want to have T4, which is one of these white ones here. T4, T5, and T6. So I'm putting T4 on here. I'm going to put a little washer. T5. Another washer. And T6. Okay, so 4, 5, and 6 are tied together. 4, 5, and 6 are tied together, and I've got it on U2. Now you can put 4 here, 5 here, and 6 here, and put the jumper bars across if your motor has the jumper bars. But just make sure 4, 5, and 6 are tied together. And then on our other side, right here, we need to have T1 and 7 on U1. And we have T1 there, and so we need to find T7. Don't know if you can see it on this video. That's T7. So 1 and 7 go here. Extra washer there. Okay. Okay, 1 and 7 go there. And also T1 and 7, and we need to tie L1 here. So that's power coming in, L1. And so what I did was I already made my connector here, and I put some of these crimp-on connectors here. So let me feed this through here. Get that tight. Okay. Now, if you remember back at our pinouts, T1 is U, and that's our black wire. So L1, U1, we have U, V, and W, so U1, and that is our black wire. So we'll get it on there as well. Okay, and then our black wire. Okay. Our ground goes right here. Go ahead and put that in, kind of get that out of the way. Alright, our next terminal is V1, and V1 needs to have T8 and T2 and T8 tied together. So it has T2 already on here. So we need to find T8. And that is this wire. And we put a washer. And then for R, V is the white wire here. Terminal 2. Okay, and then our last one is W. Our last one here is T3 and T9, and that is W. And we have T3 already on here. And then this one right here is T9. Got a washer on here. And then T3 is our red wire, W. Okay. So there are our motor connections. And so what we have is nothing on W2, nothing on V2. And then U2 we have 4, 5, and 6. T4, T5, and T6 tied together. And then over here on U1 we have T1 and T7, and also our incoming power, U. On V1 we have our white wire, which is V or T1, and then we have T2 and T8 tied together. And then on W we have T3 and T9 tied together, along with our line 3. So that should be set up for 230 volts. We'll get this plate back on. We did connect our ground over here as well. Pretty much that's it. And that takes care of the motor wiring on the motor side. Alright, so that takes care of our motor wiring. Okay, so I've mounted my pigtail into my enclosure here. Here's a shot of that. I also took the opportunity to label the numbers. Now I don't have letters, so I couldn't label this U, V, and W, so I labeled it terminal 1, terminal 2, and terminal 3. As it is on my pinouts here. So now it's just a matter of connecting those to the VFD. I'm going to connect my ground first, and that goes down here on the bottom where it says PE. And then terminal 1 is U. It's labeled U here. Okay, and then terminal 2 is the white wire, and it's labeled V as in Victor. And then the red wire is terminal 3, and that's labeled W. And then that'll just sit like so. I took and put a wire tie on my control wiring here and kind of moved it to the side. I don't want it too close to 3-phase here. So that wraps up our motor wiring. And we have one last thing that we need to connect to. So we have one last thing we need to connect inside of our enclosure, and that is our braking resistor. And that connects to beside PE here on the positive and the negative terminal. Alright, so we've got our braking resistor mounted in our panels, secured, and I've spliced in a couple of wires to make these longer. And so now it's just a matter of wiring it to our VFD. There's positive and negative down here. And you just make your connection to the positive and the negative. Okay, and then the other one to the negative here. Now this resistor doesn't have any indication of positive or negative. I don't think it really matters, but if you have if yours does have a positive and negative indication on it, then just put them in the appropriate slot there. We'll just tuck those down in the channel here. And that'll wrap that up. So that takes care of our VFD wiring. We can put our cover back on. Okay. And that pretty much wraps up our wiring of our enclosure. So thanks for watching the video. Please feel free to comment if you have any questions. Thumbs up if you liked the video. Please subscribe, and most importantly, be safe.